All right, welcome back live at Drew's house. We are talking music today, and my guest is Paul Blumenfeld. Paul, how are you? Good to meet you. Good to have you on board.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
You have the just had the Voice Your Vote. It's the virtual concert this year, but Voice Your Vote. How did it start? How did it all come about? And tell me the history.
Well, let's see. I am a absolute music nut. I work from home, listen to music all day long, every day. I've always been interested in charitable work. And then I guess like most music fans, you discover a musician, you take a deeper dive. So I was listening to Spotify, found this artist, Valerie June, and I looked at her page on Spotify and I saw she made this playlist called Young, Gifted, and Black. I looked at the name inspired by the Nina Simone song, the great Nina Simone song. So I checked out the playlist and I knew a lot of the artists on the playlist. And I was like, damn, this is a pretty good list of people. Wouldn't it be great this would be like a great concert. This is a concert I'd want to go to. There's never been a more important moment in time, like for a group like that to get assembled and put on a show for something important. So all of a sudden, that's not my skill, but I do make a living doing recruiting. So I figured, why don't I reach out to people who have the right skills for this?
All right.
and I did have some connections, and I contacted Valerie June's management, they liked the idea, but then, needed to find somebody to pull it all together, and found the City Winery folks were pretty passionate about it. And then we all had a bunch of calls just like this on Zoom. And here we are. Next thing you know, we got an amazing lineup of artists together, like most of the people on the playlist.
All right, list some of those artists first of all. Let's sell this a little bit.
Let's see. Brittany Howard, of course, Valerie June. Brittany Howard from the Great Alabama Shakes. Valerie June, Candace Springs, Rhiannon Giddens, who's amazing. Amethyst Thea, Akia, off the top of my head, that's a few.
And you're essentially, as I follow along here, so you're a businessman turned concert organizer here, just like that.
Just like that, yeah, overnight. Yeah, remind me not to do this again.
Is that right? Was it hard to put together?
I tell you what, if there is if I ever end up, if there's such a thing as hell and I end up there, it's going to be someplace where people don't return my texts or phone calls. Because there's a lot of that, that's the part, reaching out for sponsors. And there's so much outreach going on now, for sponsorship, especially now because of everything going on in the world. But we did manage to get like a great, list of sponsors on board as well. Software company Klaviyo, Uncle Nearest Bourbon, signed up. Maker's Mark just signed up. The Patriots Foundation signed up. But some individual high net worth people have also sponsored us. A great makeup brand, Nekio, has signed up too. So that's been really rewarding, getting all that.
Cool. And you're a music guy like me, so it's obviously we love going to concerts and going to shows. The virtual life, like everything in 2020, does throw a wrench into those plans.
Right.
How did you realize this could still come together and work this way?
Well, it was set out that way from the get-go. I mean, I do get involved in a lot of charities, and one of the cool things about doing charities is you usually get to go to a really amazing event and and meet a lot of really interesting people. Unfortunately, this one's going to be a stream only, but we think it's going to sell a lot of tickets, and it supports a really important cause.
Absolutely. Who's the? Let me ask you a quick personal question. Who got you into music? When did you learn to love music?
I don't know. I think it's probably medicine for me. It's been like an obsession of mine from the time I was very little. I burst into song every time I transition from one room to the next.
The beautiful thing. City Winery, obviously a big important part of this, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
For those of you, I've been in there a few times actually. It's a cool place. You get the big bar in the middle, big long kind of U-shaped bar, and then you got kind of a couple different concert rooms. It's a cool place to see. I guess kind of they're smaller artists, but some greatly talented artists as well.
Yeah, I mean they're also you might not be aware, they're a pretty large company. It's like a sort of smaller scale, more intimate house of blues with a nice wine theme as well going on. But they're in Nashville, DC, Hudson Valley, Manhattan, Boston, Chicago, Atlanta. So they're pretty reputable establishment.
Absolutely. In this particular event, Voice Your Vote, obviously it caters to Black artists. And of course, the culture right now of protest on the streets of America in the midst of a pandemic. I mean, boy, there's been no shortage of news stories, but obviously with social justice issues becoming such a big point of 2020, obviously this is part of the reason why you're doing that. You mentioned you wanted to combine your loves of music, charity, and make this social justice point. How important was it for you to combine all those things?
Very important. I mean, that was the whole, the genesis of the idea was like, there's never been a more important moment in time than to have these beautiful, powerful voices, who many of whom have already been talking through their own channels about, getting out the vote. So that was a huge part. People want to see action now.
Yeah,
it's a nonpartisan event. So
yes, it's funny how those nonpartisan events can quickly turn. Never mind. We won't go down.
It's all about getting people to vote.
Understood.
That should be something everyone is behind.
We can get behind that message. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as far as these artists go, it is interesting. It's been interesting to me. I've said this several times on this show. A lot of times I will have a local musician on this show and they'll play, and we'll interview plenty of musicians. And it is interesting to me how in this time of virtual life and this time of so many things being shut down and no live music, people turn to those artists on the stream. And I mean, streaming numbers through the roof, and all these musicians, I think, have really been there for the entertainment. And I think when in times of struggle, people really turned to the arts and to the musicians, which I always think is kind of a cool thing as a musician.
Absolutely.
Not to mention in their toughest time. It's a very hard time on musicians right now.
Well, yeah, they are. I know, and we did make sure that all of the musicians are getting. They're not just volunteering, but they're playing for like an honorarium.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Paul Blumenfeld joining us. He's the now concert organizer.
Yes.
Yeah, of the Voice Your Vote.
The next Bill Graham, that's me.
Voice Your Vote. It was Sunday, and we're catching up on it here. And I know, do you plan on doing this again? By the way, is this going to be? I know you said it was kind of hell.
Yeah, but, no, I wouldn't say it goes so far as hell. I would love to do it again. It would be great, and and it'd be really great to do it again when actually people can see such an amazing show in person.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I can envision this at the maybe a partner with a place at the City Winery, and you fill that place. That would be nice, right? Go back into an actual venue one day.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it together. You'll be in the show.
Oh, there you go. I'd love to come. I would love to go to any live theater right now and see a show. It is tough. Do these musicians talk at all? I know you said, the actual idea of organizing a concert is can be difficult, getting everybody on the same page. But do you feel like everybody's kind of on board? Are artists really committed to these sorts of things?
It would seem that way, certainly. Yeah, definitely. And if you look at any of the musicians' Twitter feeds, they're pretty outspoken about getting people to vote and passionate about voting.
Well, let me ask you, what do you do? I mean, obviously you start with this playlist and you said, wow, it'd be cool to get all these people together. But like, say you have somebody that, you really want to convince. Do you actually literally have to get them on the phone and say, here's my sales pitch to you?
In terms of getting the artists?
Yeah.
I was, fortunately, that was like we divided up tasks, and that was all City Winery. The guy who at City Winery was their vice president of national programming, and he, along with Valerie June's management company, which is Red Line Management, which is a really prestigious musician management firm, they did all of the musician outreach.
Okay.
So yeah. I reached them, and they did all the musician outreach.
Cool. So that probably more their expertise. Maybe they had some of those connections, huh?
Yeah, and Valerie, did a great job curating it, because not everybody was on the playlist, and this is her, at the end of the day, her piece of art that she wanted to have like a certain vibe to it. Understood.
And actually, Valerie, when you talk about the whole Spotify playlist thing, it is interesting to me, because I have put it out there on the show before. I have Spotify, I have playlists. I love how easy the access is. I have had artists come on here, sometimes artists more on the maybe who have more established and made it, but that have come on here and railed Spotify. For not giving enough back to the artists, which I perfectly understand that. I've also had artists here that have struggling on the grind and have said it is, oops, sorry. I've had artists on here that have been grinding and struggling for years and years. And they said, this is how I finally had people come to my show, and finally how I got audiences. This is how people started to learn my music. And for me, it's been a great thing. It's interesting, the whole Spotify era of, you know, and I don't know, feel free to add to that if you'd like to give your take on Spotify.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is, you know, probably, you know, one of the top, well, it's definitely one of the top music platforms, but, you know, when you talk to musicians, it's like, oh, so you want to go back to the day when record companies weren't screwing musicians? I mean, those days never happened, right? You know, it's always been the money people making more money, and the artists, unless they were amazingly successful artists, taking a while to get there. And certainly I think Spotify is a good way to get people on the way to having control of their own careers and monetizing themselves a lot better.
It has certainly helped a lot of musicians trying to make it. All right, Paul, what did we miss? First of all, what else do we need to talk about the show? Did you get everything out there that, because I know if you're not going to have people this year, you're going to do it for the next 10 years. I can tell.
Absolutely.
You're the kind of guy that's going to keep doing this and doing this. You like the torture.
Yeah, for sure. Glutton for punishment.
What do you hope people take out of all this?
I hope they vote. That's what, more than anything else, get out and vote. You know, everybody's got to vote. Some people are going to have to wait in long, long lines, and, you know, but that's what I want. I just want everybody to vote.
No matter how you do it, mail in or
get there.
Fenway Park, I saw, was opening up for early voting.
Oh, wow. Good.
A lot of places becoming polling centers. It's a very unique time to be alive. All right, Paul, I don't want to miss this because I know we have, I always end the show with some rapid fire. We get to know our guests a little bit more personally. So you up for this? Got to be quick answers, right?
Sure.
Whatever comes to you. And I know we both got to get moving. So here you go. Favorite musical artist?
Oh, man. I don't do lists. I don't do favorites. So I like too many. I can't pick one.
You might struggle with this then. Favorite album, or at least one that sticks out to your early side?
Early side, Europe 72, Grateful Dead.
All right, very good. That's
the first one that came to mind.
Now you're getting it. This is good. Favorite concert venue?
Favorite concert venue, City Winery.
Wow. I was wondering if you were going to do that play. Okay. What is the best show? It doesn't have to be technically best or the best set list, but what is the best show that, Paul, you've ever been to? Just most fun.
Oh, man. Kinks 1980 at the Westchester Premier Theater on the Superman tour.
Interesting.
Amazing show.
I like that. What's the
B-52s in the gym at Cornell was pretty good too.
What was that last one?
B-52s in a gymnasium at Cornell was pretty damn good too.
In a gymnasium at Cornell?
Yeah.
Interesting. How were the acoustics?
I don't remember. I was too busy dancing.
Perfect. I like that very much. All right, now we get weird. Favorite class back in school?
Favorite class that I ever took? I don't remember that either.
Was it Cornell? Was Cornell the college?
No. I went to Hobart and William Smith College.
There for the music.
Yeah, I was an American Studies major, which is, you know, my diploma is more like a certificate of attendance. So,
understood. All right. What's the favorite food?
Burritos.
Burritos. Okay. Favorite quarantine activity? You have to eliminate music.
Favorite quarantine activity? What's this show rated? No, yeah, you know, just chilling with family, having more time with my family has been great. I've got adult kids, and, you know, the first 30 years are the hardest, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's good to know for somebody.
But I got to spend a lot more time with them than I ever imagined, and that's been great.
Are they adopting your music tastes?
We all share a lot of music. I get some of them, and they get some from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen any live shows through the pandemic? Because there are ways of doing.
I've seen a lot of live streams.
Yes, but I mean, like in prep, have you done any of the drive?
Yes. Yeah, I went to a place in Orleans on Cape Cod and saw the great G Love perform on the back lawn at Hog Island Brewery in Orleans.
Oh, so, okay, good. So yeah, you're still getting a fix. Now you're like me. I still have to try to find it.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'm not going to ask you who you're voting for. Don't worry. I will not ask you that. You can volunteer it if you'd like. I'm not going to do that. But if you had to, we have a lot of high school kids that watch this show that have grown on and gone to college, and a lot of kids that are going to be voting for the first time. Sometimes that's the demographic that does not vote. A lot of those young people, especially the ones in those early years who don't realize the importance of it. What would be your final message to the youngsters out there to get out there and vote?
That their vote does make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we've learned that even in our lifetimes, how small these margins can be sometimes. Paul Blumenfeld, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man with the show going down and all that. Good luck to you. And we'll do this next year when you put all this on again, huh?
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me. Great to meet you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, Paul Blumenfeld, pretty cool right there. He is running all around. This is going to be a little bit of the shorter side show, which I know happens sometimes. Usually these are kind of long. Sometimes they're longer than others. But I wanted to make sure Paul on. He did that show on Sunday, and it went great. Virtual party. It was just cool. Great message. Get out there and vote. And Paul did a really great job. I know he's smiling today. And I just wanted to talk to him a little bit about it because it is just a cool thing. I love these ideas of getting out the vote and trying to get out the word out the vote. And I love doing it through music. And it's kind of right up my alley. So that's why I wanted to have Paul on. I had told him I caught wind of that story a little bit too late in the week. And I said, next year I will try to get you on and actually kind of promote the show. But in this case, it was, a little bit difficult to do. So, but I still wanted to have him on. Got to talk about all the artists he had on and how it came together. And most importantly, get that message out there about getting out to vote, which is cool. I do want to talk about next week's show as well, the next show on 2 days from now, because it is a good one. It's a neat place near and dear to my heart, the Cabot in Beverly. Doing okay, but like all these theaters, they're struggling too. There's no doubt about that. It is a tough time to run a theater. And if you've ever been to the Cabot in Beverly, it is a beautiful theater. It's so cool. I'm not like an engineer or anything, but from just from a place to see a show, it's just a great spot to see a show. And I'm going to have at least one of the members of the Cabot kind of crew on, because you can't go in the theater these days. And like I was just talking with Paul, everything is virtual pretty much. But there are some ways to see live music, because mostly theaters are getting creative. And they're getting creative by ways of drive-ins or really small intimate shows. This is what the Cabot has been doing. They've been doing really small intimate shows outside, socially distanced. And I haven't quite been yet. I'm going to go soon. But it seems like a great idea. And I'm very anxious to go see my first one at the Cabot. I'm very anxious to talk to the members of the Cabot. I don't want to tell you exactly who I'm going to have on, because I think that's a little bit up in the air. I'm not sure if it's going to be one, two, several of them. I don't know. But the people behind the Cabot Theater in Beverly are going to join the show. It's a North Shore staple. It's a great place. Kind of like, this show is out of Newburyport. The Firehouse in Newburyport, similar deal. John Moynihan, who's a friend of mine, a friend of the show, is out there, and he's doing creative stuff like this as well. I just love giving all the time in the world to these theaters and to these concert venues that are struggling, trying to stay alive, trying to keep music alive. And so we'll do that for the next show. But good, Paul Blumenfeld, great job putting on the Voice Your Vote virtual concert. The goal to increase voter turnout. Come on, people, go vote. It's as simple as that. And of course, he hooked it this year, focusing in on disenfranchisement as well, and brought some of the great Black voices that are out there together for one great show. Activist Nina Simone, a big part of it. And this was just a really cool event. So I was happy we got to talk with Paul a little bit too. Good job by the City Winery helping him out as well. So there you go. Big thanks to Paul Blumenfeld. My name is Drew Moholland. A little bit of a quick show today. They're not usually that quick. People have complained to me before. My wife has complained to me before that sometimes I go too long with these shows. Too much Drew. That might be the case that we're running into right now. So I'm going to go. All right. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.